to another edition of Points of Interest, brought to you by the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. My name is Paul Boucher. I'm the President and CEO of the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce. And as we do each week, we present you a calendar of events of things that are going on in the Upper Valley this week, and have a special guest to speak on their particular programs that they offer in the Upper Valley, and as we call it, Points of Interest, that try to pique your interest into looking more into the activities of these particular groups that come in to do the show. Today being no different, we have Marty High, who is the president of the board of directors of the Shaker Museum. Quite a gem. I always thought it was a gem in the Upper Valley to have the Enfield Shaker Museum there, and the activities going on there. So we'll learn more about that as we go along. But for this week, we often criticize them or give them a hard time, attorneys, but the New Hampshire Bar Association has a law line, and on Wednesday of this week from 6 to 8 p.m. The volunteer attorneys provide brief legal information and advice on the telephone, and it's free. It's a public service of the New Hampshire Bar Association, and so you may call them at 800-868-1212 and get some free information, free advice from the New Hampshire Bar Association. We also have here at Ava Gallery, we have opening artist reception, and that's from 5 to 7 p.m. Friday of this week, 13th. Features work by Dave Larrow, Julie Putkin, and Richard Allen, and that's going to run 5 to 7 this week. We have also, those of you who like to see the kids perform, the gymnastics show in Lebanon. That's an annual event that the kids do. They'll be doing it at the Lebanon Junior High School, and it's 7 to 9 p.m. The junior high, for your information, is here on Bank Street, right off the green, and they do a great performance. The kids really work hard to put this together, so that's this Thursday. And then we have beginning this week and running all this week and into next week at the Briggs Opera House. The Chicago is the name of the musical that they're putting on, and begins at 7:30 p.m. and that will run, as I say, the rest of this week and the next couple of weeks. They'll be putting on that performance. You may want to call for tickets, because I'm sure it's going to be a very popular show. That number is 802-296-7000. And then at the Lebanon Opera House on Friday, comedian Bob Marley, and very popular stand-up comedian, 7:30 p.m. at the Lebanon Opera House. And this one I would certainly say to call for tickets, because that will be a sellout. So you want to call the Lebanon Opera House at 603-448-0400. Enfield is also doing a performance, Relatively Speaking, and that's at the Shaker Bridge Theater, and that's on 23 Main Street right there in downtown Enfield. And it's a comedy by Alan Ackerborn and directed by Bill Coons. That, again, is Friday this week, and you may call 448-3750 for information on that, and that begins at 7:30 p.m. Here's one that's very interesting, not in the Lebanon area, but it caught my eye when I was looking at the calendar, is the annual Egg Drop Challenge, and that's at the Monshire Museum in Norwich, and that's from noon to 2. Participants design containers to protect an egg, drop it 18 feet from a second-story balcony, and they're judged on how they made out, see if the egg didn't break or crack. And it's really a challenge for the participants to produce something that will not crack the egg. That's at, as I said, noon to 2 p.m. at Monshire Museum, free admission. You can watch that event. This is an annual event that they do, and it's a lot of fun for them to perform and fun to watch also. We have also, this coming up this week, the University of Vermont Jazz Ensemble, Lebanon Opera House. University of Vermont Jazz Ensemble is are going to be performing. That is a free performance at 7:30 on Thursday the 12th. It's a very good program. And then we have the Green Mountain Youth Symphony that's coming on the 15th of April also, that's the first next week, and that is performed by the Upper Valley Music Center. This is the 17th year that the Upper Valley Music Center was founded, and they do this particular performance every year. Coming up next week, we have Ruyu Gato, who is a violinist, and he is going to be performing at the Lebanon Opera House, with the proceeds going to research at Dartmouth Medical School for ALS, and that's what we popularly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. That is, again, on the 16th at 7 o'clock at Lebanon Opera House. Coming up later on in the week, the Dartmouth Airs will be at the Opera House also. That is on the 19th. And they were runner-up on NBC's The Sing-Off, so a real good group. And coming on later on, we'll talk more about it also, is the Moscow Festival Ballet Swan Lake. And that will be performed on the 20th, again at the Lebanon Opera House. And we got some activities coming up in May. The Cinderella by City Center Ballet is going to be performing at the Opera House also. And so we'll be talking more about that as the dates get closer. In addition, the Lebanon Area Chamber of Commerce is doing their 20th annual golf tournament on May 15th, Lake Morey Resort. All the proceeds from that tournament go to our scholarship account, and this is to help people better their lot in working, better working skills, and also provide a better employee for the employer. And so these colleges that participate are Lebanon College, Franklin Pierce, Granite State College, River Valley Community College, the New England School of Hair Design, and the Vermont Community College. Those are the ones that participate. If you are a student there and interested in our scholarship, you merely go to the resource department, financial aid at each of those schools where the applications are, and you apply through the school. So we will be having scholarships for the September semester. But and all the proceeds from this tournament, as I said, go to this scholarship account. And since 1992, when the Chamber began this program, we have contributed over $70,000 to scholarships for these adult learners. So anyone who's interested in playing in the tournament, sponsorships, always looking for sponsors, whole sponsors, green sponsors, cart sponsors. We're always looking for those. They may go to our website, which is www.lebanonchamber.com, and there is the application for sponsorships and for playing. And for merely $95 per player, which is one of the least expensive tournaments in the Upper Valley, you get 18 holes of golf, a cart, and then you also get a nice buffet dinner and prizes for, as we do low net, low gross, we do for closest to the pin, longest drive, and it's just a fun day. And a lot of the golf courses really get hit last fall with Hurricane Irene. Lake Maureen did not. All of the holes are in great shape, and with the early spring that we got, or summer if you will, everything is blooming and everything's in great shape. So if you want to get out, and we play what we call a scramble format, which means if you're not very good, as I am not very good, we play best ball, so that you play the ball of the best one in the foursome, best drive and whatever, and go from there. So it goes fairly quickly. It's a lot of fun, and over the years, really the players enjoy it. We limit it to a certain number of foursomes because of time of play, and we don't want to drag it out too long. And so if you are interested in playing, let us know right away, and we'll be glad to sign you up for that activity. So those are the activities going up on this week in the Upper Valley, and we welcome today Marty Hyde, who is the president of the board of directors of the Shaker Museum, and welcome to the program, Marty.
Thank you.
Your background a little bit, where are you from and your background, are you museum background? Or?
I've been a teacher all my life, and I've lived in many different places, so more recently had come to New Hampshire, where I worked at Dartmouth as in their alumni relations office for about 14 years. And many people around here might have seen my name signed on a travel brochure from the alumni office. For many years I did that. And then when I retired, and we moved, my husband and I moved to Enfield, I decided to get involved in the town in some way, and I had a good friend who kept twisting my arm, and so I've been about 4 years on the board of trustees, and now I'm president.
How big is your board?
We have 10.
10 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're building it, but we hope to get it more like 15 or 20.
And people think of the museum as just the museum, but you have other properties, buildings on the property that you have different activities also. What are some of those buildings that you hold?
We have 8 historic buildings. There's the Great Stone Dwelling, which the Shakers had built with a Boston architect, Annie Young, in 1837, and the Shakers themselves, did all the inside work. They only had to have that granite put up for them.
And they did not do that, the Shakers. We always thought the Shakers did. They had somebody else do that.
Oh, yeah,
the inside.
the big granite. The structure, but they finished off the inside. We have the West Brethren shop, which is just about as it was, where we demonstrate tools that they used, and mostly farm and agricultural, but also some manufacturing things like a broom, how you make a broom. And we have the original ministry building, which was where they governed from. It's their business office, and used to be right in front of the Great Stone Dwelling, but it's over to the side now. We also have something called the Laundry Dairy, where they made cheeses. That's over in the back. And many years ago, some of the people who are watching might have come to the museum when it was in that little low building at the back. And a lot of people in this area still think the museum isn't a museum, it's an inn. It must be an inn and a restaurant, because that's how they experienced it. But actually, it's been a museum incorporated since 1987. This is our 25th year. And in about 2004, we moved the museum's collection and everything into the Great Stone Dwelling. So we left the Laundry Dairy and went into the Great Stone Dwelling, and it hasn't been an inn since then. However, we can invite guests to stay overnight, and they do. Anybody can come and have a wonderful experience. We also have a fully functioning commercial kitchen, and many people can do events there. We do a lot of weddings, and anniversary parties, and Dartmouth reunions, and people who live and work in the Upper Valley area who have a group would like to come for a business meeting, maybe, or an office retreat, or just some kind of a get-together for their family. All kinds of things like that can be booked at the museum. We have lots of space. They can get a caterer in and use our kitchen. They can do it all themselves. And we also do put together events. We do about 4 dinners a year. And they're lots of fun. People love to come and get some music going and wonderful food. And we also, of course, have a gift shop with wonderful, a lot of locally made or New England made things, and things that will help also tell the story of the Shakers. We have a lot of good books for that. We have many craftspeople who sell on consignment through our store. So there's pottery and weaving and people who make woolen goods. So it's a wonderful, that's a wonderful resource for people. But the most important thing is, as a museum, people can come and hear the Shaker story, which is fascinating. It's so different. And we're open every day except for certain holidays, so weekends are a good time to come. And all through the summer, we're going to have a new set of family programs where people can come with their kids, and there'll be a lot of hands-on activities and a snack at the end.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
On Saturdays, yeah.
So basically, the museum occupies the first floor, most of the first
Oh,
floor?
the whole, when you come and take a tour, you go from top to
Top to
bottom.
bottom.
Yes.
But if I'm coming for a meeting and such, or a retreat or whatever,
Mhm.
is that in the museum part, or is that in that same stone dwelling but upstairs?
You might end up having meetings upstairs in what
Okay.
was their gathering room where
Okay.
they used to worship.
Yeah,
But the downstairs big room is the dining room, so you might end up having your lunch there and,
and you're meeting upstairs.
yeah, and you're meeting upstairs. It would all depend on how big the group was and what you needed from us. Yeah.
That's interesting because, there's a lot of, well, we get a lot of questions at the chamber office. Small groups, 10, 12, 15 people, they need a place for a retreat, get away from their particular locations to hold a board retreat or
Oh, yes.
whatever.
Oh,
So
yes.
you're well
You
equipped
want a
for-
nice quiet place where you're not attached to your phones and.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and that would be a great place.
It's
They
a
just
good
bring their own
place.
caterer
Yeah.
or make arrangements
Yeah.
on their own. How many rooms do you have for sleeping?
We have 20 guest rooms.
Oh, 20 guest rooms,
Yep,
okay.
and they all have queen-size beds in them. Some of them are about 4 are singles, the rest are either doubles or big doubles, like on the corner, very nice with views in 2
Overlooking
directions.
the lake?
Some of them are, yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
Or the mountain
Yes.
across the way.
That's right, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
So someone
And-
could come there but they'd have to go elsewhere for their meals and such, if somebody stayed there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right,
Yeah.
but they could go over to Mickey's.
Oh, which is
in
across the way,
Enfield.
yes, and stay.
We often have people staying, for example, parents and alumni who come to visit their children at Carnegie Mountain School. And they like to stay at our establishment, so.
You're open 12 months of the year?
Mhm, yeah, yeah.
And you've got a marvelous other building there, which is the chapel.
Yes, we do.
And excellent organ, and I've been to some weddings that were held there.
That's right.
And George Gamble plays there. And
George Butler.
Butler, I'm sorry,
George and
George
Donna Butler
Oh,
play
yeah.
that Cassavant organ.
Yes.
It is so
Oh,
special.
I mean,
It's a
he
very
stops
special-
playing and it's reverberating for another 5 minutes and everything.
And you may not know, but they've been responsible for bringing many very top international organists to the area to play on that organ, and we've had wonderful concerts. The people drive by on Route 4A, and they see the Great Stone Dwelling, which looks very like 19th century, old, and then they see the chapel, and they feel like they're looking at both eyes, but they're not being able to focus. How do those two things go together? How do they relate to each other? How did that happen? And that's an interesting story too, which is part of what we interpret as a museum. Because in 1925, when the Shaker, the remaining 7 or so sisters couldn't keep going anymore and they needed to sell, of the offers, of the possibilities they had, they selected La Salette, the brothers of La Salette, because of their spiritual mission. They may not have agreed with it because they had their own faith,
Sure.
but they saw this as one of the most sympathetic groups that could come and take over and love these buildings. So they did sell to them. And the La Salette, the brothers of La Salette had a patroness, Mary Keene,
Yeah.
who was very interested in building them a chapel. And that's how that chapel happened, just around 1929, 1930 or so.
In the same stone, in the same
Yeah.
style as the
Yes,
other.
well,
really
very
is,
similar, very
yeah.
similar, although inside not. It's
Yeah.
a very Catholic building, whereas the Shaker building is very Shaker.
Sure.
So there is a difference. But it's wonderful for weddings, and we use it a lot for that.
With the last set still being on the premises,
Mhm.
running across the street, they have their gift shop and,
That's right, they do.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you work programs with them at all? I mean, do they have retreats that they would put people in your establishment, or have they?
It doesn't happen a lot, but this summer, they're having a big anniversary, and they're bringing back people who went to school, because when La Salette was there, they ran it as a secondary
It
school.
was, yeah, in a seminary.
That's
and all.
right, a
Yes,
seminary.
Yeah,
And so in August, there's going to be a wonderful reunion of all those people.
yeah.
And they've been, a few of them have come back to help plan it, and I've met them, and you should see the excitement on their faces when they come into that space where they were in their formative years, you know, as young men. So that's going to be really fun this summer.
In talking to some of the last lads, you know, part of their training was doing manual labor. They had cows, they had chickens, they had the big garden,
Yeah.
and that's how they supported themselves too.
Well, after all, and that's how the Shakers supported themselves.
too.
The Shakers could afford to build that enormous building because of their agriculture. They started the seed, not the Enfield Shakers, but all the Shakers were responsible for developing the seed packet industry in this country. And the Enfield Shakers used to take their boxes of seeds, little packets that they put together, onions and such, you know, and go around the country and put them in country stores on consignment. And then they'd come back and pick up the check later and get their box and fill it again. So that was very lucrative. The Shakers were wonderful entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
They really were.
It's a huge program.
Yeah.
When somebody mentions, you know, the Shakers and all, they always think of Canterbury, and where there is also
Oh, perhaps
But-
Hancock.
and Hancock also. But you know, this is a gem that we have right here in the Upper Valley. A lot of
Yes.
people, you know, have not visited or have not had any experience over there.
That's right.
And so there's a lot
Yeah.
going. And again, you're open 12 months of the year.
We are, and we have a community garden. And I want to make sure everybody knows about our gardens. There's been an herb garden at the museum for 25 years, since it was founded. But, which Happy Griffiths
Happy does a great job. Yes.
developed
Yeah.
and still is involved
Yeah.
with today. And we have a wonderful program of village gardeners who are volunteers to help take care of that. 3 years ago, with the help of Hypertherm, we got fencing and irrigation and put together a wonderful community garden right next to that herb garden. And people can come. We still have some plots available. People can rent a plot. You can rent a 20 by 20 plot for $30. Then you put a deposit down of $30, which you get back at the end if you're a good citizen and you keep your
You kept your plot.
We did, and you actually used it and grew something in it. And we have a wonderful time together out there. And that soil, I've got to tell you, I think it's blessed. But it has really good sunshine, and it hardly needs anything extra put in it, and it just grows wonderful vegetables. So, or flowers, whatever people would like to. Yeah, we are an entirely organic site. And this is unique, I think. There are not many museums that are certified organic in the state of New Hampshire and have a certified organic community garden. So we're very proud of that.
And then we talked about Happy. Hers are mostly herbs. She's the
Herbs
herb
and flowers.
specialist.
The herbs and the flowers that the Shakers originally used.
Ah,
And this year, we're putting in some extra heirloom vegetables, and we're going to save those seeds. And we've been doing a lot of research from the very seed packets that we have in the museum. And we're gone to Seed Savers Exchange and found new supplies of those very varieties that the Shakers grew. And we're going to start that up and have that available for people too. So we really... we love our gardens, and they're a big part of keeping everybody fit.
yeah.
We have trails across the road for people to hike on.
Do you still have access to the lake at all? Or
Not us, no.
You don't have
No.
access to the lake. But they can cross the way, they can, a lot of hiking and trails.
That's
and
right.
stuff.
That's right, yeah.
So again, you're open 7 days a week?
We are, and
And
we
the
we open at 10, we close at 5 starting in May, 4 during the winter, but we'll soon be going to our summer hours. May 20th, we have a big sale of the sort of art and garden festival with lots of plants and lots of activities for people, and there'll be artists there with their things on sale, and lots of plants. So if you want your garden plants, that's the place to get them. And on the 21st, we are having something very new for women only, the Shaker Sisters Slumber Party.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Call us and ask about it. You stay overnight, we come with potluck, bring a potluck meal, stay overnight, watch a movie together. Yoga Epiphany from Enfield is doing massages.
Oh, and then they stay in the rooms.
Chocolate milk. Yes. Oh, yeah, we're going to have fun.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of activities that, people don't realize are going out there.
Lots of fun things.
And so you work very hard to keep those programs going, and I'm sure it's a very costly place to maintain. I just can't imagine the heat going into that stone house, to keep warm. I mean,
Well, we did a big energy efficiency project during our capital campaign, and we put in insulation and storm windows, and we have actually reduced our use of heating oil by a quarter or more. So that was the good news from that.
do you have a website that people can go to?
We do. It's www.shakermuseum.org.
And so people can get there and look at your calendar of events and what's going on. And,
They can.
Excuse me. You may want to go to the slumber party. That sounds very interesting to have that. Well, Marty, we thank you very much for being with us today and enlightening us of all the activities going on at the Shaker Museum, and invite our listeners to go out and participate in the programs.
Thank you,
So
Bob.
thank you.
It's been a wonderful opportunity, and we would like everyone to know, too, that we are searching for a new executive director. So that is just starting. The advertisement is out there. So,
good. So anybody's interested?
If you know someone.
If you know someone, yes.
Who would be good.
Call Marty.
Yeah.
Well, again, we thank you for watching another episode of Points of Interest, and we'll be back next week with another program. Until then.